And I said I will not leak today, I will stick with my plan, but here I am again speaking in 2 hours. In this video I want to speak about criticism. I see criticism as one of the best tools when it comes to self-improvement and growth, but only if it's understood and used correctly. So in this video I would just want to show you my perception to criticism and also explain differences between negative and positive sides of criticism. I don't think there is actually negative criticism. I think there's a bunch of other stuff which is just hiding behind this word criticism. I see negative judgment as a product of ignorance of your emotions, and I think with time it can build up as a emotional weapon, which by the way strikes in both sides, which consciously or unconsciously some kind of way benefits attacker's ego. Verbal aggression, for example, I think it's connected with also prejudices and common opinion, which is really great topic I think, but in this time not about that. When people use this word criticism, but actually they just try to vomit their unsolved emotions on you, and these attackers use these kind of emotions just to create more emotions from any situation. They feed on these kind of emotions, unfortunately, but that only shows their internal state, their ways, their language, how they speak with themselves and how other people have spoken with them. So I think the best way we can address these kind of situations is just to not react and not let this negative emotion overtake us. Calm human response will create this space where to think about your reaction, and maybe the other person will have this space to think too. And if this space, in the best case, I think, if it's explained, or for example you ask the person, like, why do you think like that? What made you think like this? You see, nobody ever have time for this, unfortunately. So I think if people actually would spend a little more time in the actual situation and lead this conversation to actual compromise, not just to prove something, I think the world would be a much better place. By choosing act emotionally, by choosing just act to some action, for example, which is full with emotions, you just give this thing value. So for example, if some person calls you and you quickly respond and you're trying to like protect yourself, then this situation is happening, you know. You give this person a value, you give this word a value, because words, they're just words. Our reaction is what makes them special. Understand, is it really worth it? What I'm gonna get from this situation? If you just learn how to stop and notice your reaction. For example, you feel anger, so you stop and you just think, why do I feel angry? And then you just dig to that reason. Do I feel like this because of other person? Do I feel like this because of me? You have to really work your way to the answer, and when you have this answer, you don't have this emotion anymore, because it's understood. If you leave this emotion just like that, just feel angry, for example, this time you will not say anything, but the next time it's gonna build up. So after 10 times it's gonna build so big that you will just vomit all your anger on somebody who's maybe not even involved in the situation. You see, and this is how all these negative things pass to other people. It is our responsibility to take control over with what we go to other people, how we treat other people, how we interact with other people, and the most importantly, how we feel when we have these interactions, because nothing just disappears, you know. Maybe you think it disappears because you don't think about it after 5 minutes, but after like 1 month you would just wash your dishes and you remember the situation. Our mind works in this way, that it just gives you the flashbacks from situations where you felt really bad, and then it just kind of eats you. I had a really big problem with this. I have made a lot of bad choices in my life, so I was criticizing myself a lot, and it made really hard for me to deal with new situations in my life. Since I actually have started to work with real self-care, I have learned that if you really love yourself, if you really understand yourself, you will never ever let these kind of emotions inside of you. Even if you see some situation where you could just drop some spicy bomb, you don't want to think these kind of things because it's not necessary. When you don't love yourself and you don't control your emotions and thoughts, it's easy to leak on other people. Like judgments and negative criticism, I see it just as a laziness. Maybe it's just not enough information. Because honestly, as we grow up in this, well, personally I did grow up in society where it wasn't shown how we should communicate, how we deal with our emotions. Because when interacting, there is a lot of sides in communication, and there is a lot of misunderstandings, and we are literally raised without any tools which could actually help us to better ourselves. And I will not even speak about the most important ingredients of our mind and mindsets. So basically we are clueless. I'm just saying we, because I don't believe that I'm the only one who doesn't know how to react when more emotional, saturated experience happens. We have to deal with all these things by ourselves, so it's not that easy work, and I think it's finally time to start to treat it as a normal thing, because it is a normal thing. We're not robots, we are these super complicated creatures, and if we can learn to understand what we are made of completely, I think there can be much more possibilities possible, if that makes sense. Literally proven that emotionally saturated experiences leave our cognitive perception in much lower performance. A cognitive perception is basically the way we deal with information, feeling, seeing, smelling, how we interact with the world and new situations. I hope it's the right explanation. It is really big impact on ourselves. I think it is our responsibility to really understand these kind of situations and just really take control over a product of ours, because it is our product. So it's definitely worth to dig deep and understand these kind of things. And don't be afraid if you have these kind of emotions, if you have all these nasty judgments. The biggest step is to understand and notice that you have them. Because if you will just act that they doesn't exist, they will stay there and they will be a part of your behavior. And if you do need help, don't be afraid to ask for help. There is a lot of people who would love to help you. It's important to speak, it's important to try, because you can be the best version of yourself. I have learned that your circumstances and your situations, they only show you who you are. If you do react in some kind of nasty way, it just shows you this feeling which you have to pay more attention to. And with time, it will get better. But only if you're gonna work. If you're not gonna work, then well, it's your responsibility. Positive criticism. Finally, I'm there. Positive criticism is based on people's actual experiences, of their known facts, which could actually help to you to achieve much better results based on their experience and based on their mistakes. And the best part of this thing is that you can accept, or you can just leave it. You don't have to accept all of the criticism. But there is also this thing that sometimes even when people can give you positive criticism, other people can see it as a negative criticism, because it could make them feel emotional. But there's the thing, you have to understand your emotions. Hopefully you can peel off also your emotions and just keep it there. But I didn't see positive criticism a lot before in my life, but then I noticed that I actually have never given any for myself. So when I started to share with things what have really actually helped for me, with the intention that they can accept it and they cannot accept it. Sometimes maybe I'm too intense, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm really working with that. The thing is, we all have our blind spots. It is normal that we cannot see every angle of situation of ourselves. So it's really great that somebody is giving you their time and their energy and their advice, because really rare that people actually share with experience that really can help other people. I think best thing is to share, because what's the point of sitting in a golden chair all alone, you know? If you can share and you can all go up together, then it's great. I think happiness isn't happiness if it's not shared. Yeah, we can do a lot by ourselves, we can do a lot alone, but I think more structurized opinions and more perspectives can lead us to much better results. Positive criticism is one of the best things what a person can give to other person, and also what you can give to yourself. For example, sometimes you do something really stupid and then you're just judging yourself. You don't know what you're doing, blah 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 blah. So it doesn't give you anything. You just end up in really bad mood. But for example, if you can watch yourself from other perspective and just understand your reasons and give yourself better strategies for another similar situation, it's positive criticism, right? This process will definitely leave you with much better skill to control your impulses and to understand situations more. And honestly, there is no better feeling when you can choose just not to be mad. Before, I was such a mad kid. With time, it just creates like a filter. Okay, so new situation comes to you. This person just wants me to be mad, so I don't need this. So this, oh yeah, actually maybe I didn't notice this thing about myself, so this I can keep, I can check it later, you know. So it's like an automatical filter which just leaves the tools what you can use for yourself, and just leaves out the stuff which just keeps your mind busy and doesn't give you anything productive. It's really great skill to understand yourself and also other people's emotions more. At start it may seem a lot to do, because if you did manage to watch this all, just let me know. This was a lot, and so I would love to know your opinion about all of this. If you have any new thoughts, do you feel comfortable to speak about these kind of things? Never give up on ways to improve yourself. Always search for more. There is much better possibilities for you. I can promise you. Even now, if you think that it's not possible to feel differently, just try. Just try, and with small steps you will get there. This is coming from a person who had no interest in anything in life. Absolutely anything, for more than I remember myself. So you just have to start to work with something. Just start with something what feels more familiar to yourself, and just build yourself up.